Hey YouTube, BR Tidwell 55 here. Today I'm going to take a little bit different tack on what I usually talk about. This isn't about technology or computers or phones or operating systems or anything like this. This is about another hobby of mine, interest. You might even call it a guilty pleasure, and that's professional wrestling. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. Why on earth would you want to watch that? I mean, it's fake. It's, there's no real competition. If you want to see real fighting, watch UFC. It's just a soap opera for guys. And granted, it's all taken. Well, first of all, I watch it, and anyone who's really a fan of professional wrestling understands that it's scripted, okay? If you're more than 8 years old, you understand that it's scripted, okay? Well, if not, at least the outcome of the matches are predetermined, okay? And as far as wanting to watch real fighting, hey, I've watched some UFC, I've seen some good matches, but, it just doesn't really, it's just not my cup of tea, alright? When it comes to professional wrestling, though, honestly, I started watching this when I was a kid. My dad really introduced me to it. When I don't even remember how old I was when we would watch it, but I do remember that Saturday mornings were cartoons and Saturday afternoons were wrestling shows, and this is back in the late 70s, early 80s, and and back in those days, that was before WWE or WWF, as it was known at that time, became a huge national thing that it is today. Wrestling back then was composed of what they called the territory system, meaning that local promoters had various chunks of the United States that they that they toured, that they ran shows in, where they had television market, and it was a very local thing. And I grew up in the Oklahoma Panhandle, and so our television market came out of Amarillo, Texas, and Amarillo was the home of a wrestling promotion run by the Funk family. Now, if you know anything at all about professional wrestling, you've heard the name, you know of Terry Funk. The guy's a hardcore wrestling legend. He's a WWE Hall of Famer. I mean, he's close to 70 and he's still working. And just a testament, I think, to the toughness that guy actually has. So anyway, of course, growing up, as a teenager, kind of lost interest in it, and but I remember seeing all the greats. I remember going to a house show at the local fairgrounds when I was a kid and seeing Terry Funk in action live. But in any case, I kind of got away from it, and then my first year on active duty in the Army, I was living in the Bachelor Officer Quarters at Fort Benning. Got back into it. This was mid-90s, and this was the height of the Monday Night Wars, which were both WCW, which was a rival promotion to WWE or WWF at the time. You had Monday night, you had Raw for WWF, and you had Nitro for WCW. And me and a buddy of mine, we'd get together every Monday night, and we'd watch Nitro. It was a good time. Did that for a couple years. Got married. Had to move out of the bachelor quarters, and my wife, now ex-wife, not so much of a wrestling fan. Didn't like it at all. So if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. So quit watching it. Well, fast forward about a year later, and I'm in Korea. And again, for those of you who don't know, WWE or WWF provides all their programming to Armed Forces Network for free. So I watched a lot of wrestling. I got back into watching wrestling when I was in Korea. Only this time it was mainly WWF, and this was kind of, at that time, the Monday Night Wars kind of winding down. This is when, you know, WCW, for lack of a better term, had jumped the shark, and WWF Attitude, the Attitude Era, that was the thing to watch. Get back from Korea, several years don't watch any wrestling for a long time. You know, then last year I was deployed in Afghanistan, and like I said, WWE provides all their programming for free to AFN. I watched all the pay-per-views last year. Watched Monday Night Raw, watched SmackDown. You know, and I got back into it. Now, one thing that has significantly changed is now WWE is, without question, the biggest wrestling promotion out there. There's another one, TNA, that's TNA can't hold a candle to WWE as far as the ratings they get or anything like that. But one of the big changes in that's happened in WWE is they're now in what they call the PG era, and a lot of they call themselves internet wrestling community, and I follow wrestling news and whatnot. I read a few blogs. They really hate the WWE product now, and the PG. They think the PG era has ruined WWE, where I kind of disagree. I mean, would I like to see more actual wrestling on WWE shows? Yeah. I mean, Raw's been at 3 hours for 3 weeks now, and really for all the actual wrestling content that they put in that show, they could still do it in 2 hours. I mean, the other hour of that show is, frankly, I think a lot of fluff. But that being said, I like the PG era because on Friday nights when I get my kids for the weekend, you know, I can sit down with my 10-year-old and I can watch Friday Night SmackDown, and I don't have any problems letting him see that. You know, a few years ago, if they were still doing some of the things they were doing during the Attitude Era and even during the Monday Night Wars, there's no way in heck I'd let my kids watch that. I mean, it's just not exactly what you would call family-friendly programming. But anyway, yeah, I'm a wrestling fan, and you know, maybe I'll start doing some videos where, you know, maybe I'll critique the previous night's Raw or SmackDown or whatever. Maybe talk about, you know, what I think, you know, opinions are like, you know, rear ends, everybody has one. But maybe what I think they can do a little bit better. And, you know, I do watch TNA every now and again, and there's some things that I think TNA is actually doing that I think WWE would be better off if they would do some of the things that TNA does, like, you know, actually having focus on wrestling itself. But anyway, that's thought I'd tell you all about my little, you know, one of my other interests, and thanks for watching.